Hello everybody, this is Mrs. Hassel, and today I'm going to be going over week 3, which is finding the volume of three-dimensional figures. So these 3 problems I'm going to go over are found on your assignment 1 through 30. So the first one I'm going to go over is question number 1. I have to first identify the figure that is given to me, and this one is a sphere. Once I do that, I have to identify the parts of the sphere. So they're either going to give us the diameter or the radius, but I have to identify both. Okay, and so if I look, the 2 is pointing to the center. That line is going all the way from one end of the sphere to the other. So I know that that is my diameter. How am I going to get my radius? I'm going to take half of my diameter, which is half of 2, and that'll give me the radius. Once I do that, I'm going to identify the formula to use. So the formula chart, I'm going to look under volume of a sphere, and I'm going to use the formula. Volume equals 4/3 times pi times radius to the 3rd power. Once I do that, I'm going to substitute or plug in on paper the given values, and what that given value was the radius. So I'm going to keep the 4/3, I'm going to keep pi, and I'm going to plug in 1 because that is what I'm looking for, or that is what's in the formula, to the 3rd power. So first I plug in on paper, then I'm going to go ahead and plug in my calculator. So at school we did have our calculators that we use, but because most of y'all don't have one, or you don't even have the app, we're going to go ahead and use a regular phone calculator. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So because there is not a fraction option on this calculator, we're going to multiply the numerator times pi times 1 and then to the 3rd power. Then I'm going to go ahead and divide by 3. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. 4 times pi, that's a pi symbol, times 1, and then to the 3rd power is right here. And then I'm going to hit enter. And then I'm going to divide by 3. Okay, and so because I'm going to go ahead and round, it says to round to the 10th place, I'm going to go ahead and write down 4.18. I need 2 places written down, that's the hundredths place, in order for me to round to the 10th place. So that hundredths place is going to tell the 10th place whether to stay at a 1 or go up to a 2. So this number, the hundredths place, is a 5 or higher, therefore I'm going to round up 1. And so my final answer is 4 2/10 kilometers to the 3rd power. Okay. Question number 11 on your packet is a figure known as the cone. How do I know it's a cone? Because it has one circular base. And so when we have a cone, we have to identify 3 things. Just like we did with the sphere, we're going to identify the diameter and the radius. But then this time, the cone does have a height. The height is found from the center of the circular up to the top. And so my height in this case is 20. My diameter is pointing to from the center all the way across the circle, and so that is 20 as well for my diameter. And then I take the radius by getting half of the diameter, so half of 20 is 10. Okay, so again we identify the figure and then we identify the parts to that figure. We cannot move on until we do that. Once I do that, now I can go ahead and start with my formula for a cone. Volume of a cone is found right here. So this time it's volume equals 1/3. That capital B, we all know, is area of the base times the height. And so this time around, that area of the base is going to have to be translated. So how do I translate it? Well, I have to look at the area of the base. So my base is a circle. So in this capital B stands for area of a circle. So that circle, that area of a circle formula, if you don't remember, it is on the formula chart. Area of a circle is pi r squared. So that is how to find that area of the base. So I'm going to plug it in to my formula. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring down times the height. So I didn't change my formula. All I did was translate that area of the base to pi r squared. Once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and substitute or plug in my radius, which is 10, and my height, which is 20. Always plug in on paper, then go ahead and go to your calculator. So again, I'm going to multiply the numerator 1 times pi times 10 squared times 20, and then divide by 3. Okay, and that is because I don't have an option to enter 1/3 into the calculator. So that's 1 times pi times 10 to the second power this time, not to the third, but to the second power, times 20. And then I'm going to hit enter, and I'm not done yet. I still have to divide by the denominator, which is 3. And so I'm going to go ahead and write down the number. And again, I am rounding to the tenths place, so therefore I need to write down 2 places after the decimal. Okay, and so that hundredths place is going to go ahead and tell my tenths place to round up 1. And so my final answer is 2,094 and 4/10 feet to the third power. Okay. The last problem is going to be found on question number 21. It's going to be 21. Again, we do the same thing we did with the sphere and the cone. We identify it. This is a cylinder. And how do I know it's a cylinder? Because it has 2 circular bases. And this time, if I notice here, the 3 is pointing from the center to the outside. It doesn't go straight across. And we know that when it is going from the center to the outside, that is the radius. But I still want to identify the diameter and the height. So the diameter this time is going to be multiplied by 3. So 3 times 2 is 6, because the diameter is twice the radius. And then the height is going to be from base to base, which is 12. Okay, and so once I identify my figure and the parts of the figure, I'm going to go ahead and go to the formula, which is found right here on my formula chart. Cylinder volume equals that capital B again, which is area of the base times height. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down. Okay, and so once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and again translate that capital B. Again, that capital B stands for area of a circle, because that base is a circular base. So I'm going to go ahead and translate. I'm not changing the formula. All I'm doing is translating that capital B to area of a circle. And we know area of a circle is pi r squared. So that's what I'm going to translate it to. And then I'm going to multiply that by height. Okay, so again, I did not change the formula. All I did was translate that capital B to finding the area of the circle, which is pi r squared. Okay, once I do that, I can go ahead and plug in or substitute the radius, which is 3, and substitute the height, which was 12. Okay, always substitute on paper first, then on the calculator. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and plug that in. And this time I don't have to worry about a fraction. I simply have pi times 3 squared times 12. And so I'm going to go ahead and round again. So I'm going to go ahead and write down 2 places after the decimal, which is 339 and 29 hundredths. Once I write that down, I can go ahead and circle my hundredths place, and I'm circling it because that's the number that is going to tell my tenths place to stay at a 2 or go up to a 3. And this time the 9 is 5 or higher, therefore it's going to go up to a 3. So if this were a number that was lower than 5, then that would stay at a 2. Okay, and so my final answer is letter C, 339 and 3/10 centimeters to the 3rd power. Okay, I hope this video helps you. Remember, do your best, do all your work. And if you have any questions, please let your case manager know, and we will do anything and everything to help you out. Bye guys, we miss you.